guys, it's Ahmer here, and we are back with another Super Nintendo update. So, how can I top last week's video with finding 120 Super Famicom games and adding those into the collection? Many of those were Japanese exclusives, and you have to check them out because I was shocked on some of the games, some of the prices, and just so many are so much fun that I keep playing them. Well, we had to hit a milestone. As you guys know, we left off with 488 games last time, and did I quite hit the 500 mark? Well, I'll go ahead and spoil it. Yes, I did. So, I found so many great Super Nintendo games. I found all of these through eBay auctions. I think I paid pretty inexpensive prices on a lot of these. So, I got some great deals. We'll start out with this one right here. I just have to clean up some of these stickers because that was part of the deal, but everything looks pretty great, like the label underneath. But this one is World Heroes 2. Such a fun fighting franchise, but does it hold up with all of these Super Nintendo games out there, these fighting games? I'd have to say that I enjoyed this one because I really like how they have different special attacks. There are like a variety of characters in here. There's just so many fighting games that you're competing with, though. So that makes it really difficult because you have kicks, punches, throws, but there isn't really like a whole bunch of special moves in this game, like a lot different than some of the other better titles. Absolutely love Mortal Kombat. I love all of these other like Street Fighter games on the Super Nintendo. But this one is definitely a fun little playthrough, and it's not super expensive. And I think that I paid like $5 or something for it. So these are just some great deals that you can make out there, especially if you find some of the eBay auctions or different auctions like that. So definitely excited to add this one into the set as I'm trying to go for the full set, but I really want to hit a lot more of the fighting games that I potentially have left. And then this one right here. So this one is this Acme Animation Factory. So, of course, you have all of these Looney Tunes characters. This definitely reminds me of Mario Paint, but it has a lot going on, so it's kind of more of like a kid's game. But I like how you can have like the paint option. There is a music program. There's a mini game of like matching, and it has this whole animation style, like frame by frame, like Looney Tunes was. So I'm sure that back in the day, this game, was a little bit better, a little bit more like something that kids would want in their collection, or like just to play and have some time to mess around with. But this is one that I just wanted to test and kind of move past it just to see what it was all about. But I'm not really too sure that I'll spend too much time with this. Definitely nostalgic though for all the Looney Tunes characters and some of my favorite cartoons back in the day. And then a not so fun thing. So we all know that I keep buying some of the same games. But I found a solution for that because I kept forgetting to cross games off the list. I have a paper printout, and these right here, I have 2 of these True Golf. This is Pebble Beach Golf Links. I have 2 copies now, so I'll go ahead and keep the better condition one, and I'm not going to include that in this, set here, but I just wanted to make a note of it, just so I could see at the very end how many times I bought a duplicate game. But I'm going to reorganize my shelf. I have a whole separate room and area for my Super Nintendo games now. So I'm super excited to get them all alphabetized, go over a new list, and see which games, I might already have, or like prevent that from happening any further. But if you guys are enjoying this content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification because you don't want to miss out on this Super Nintendo series. And as we are getting to the 500 mark currently, there are only a few hundred left, so you don't want to miss out on those. Next up is this game. I'd never heard of this. This is No Escape. This one is more than just a couple dollars. So I don't remember the movie, but this is another tie-in. So this is one of those action movies, and it's very interesting. So you have this whole like combat role, and there are tons of traps that you have to watch out for. Platforming is a little bit hard to control in this game, and it has like this story sequence, not as quick paced as I hoped for, but you can trade items and there are crafting abilities. So I like how this game tried something different, and I'm interested in looking a little bit more into it and seeing if this is something that, I can like pass over some of the controls just to see how they were advancing through on the Super Nintendo. And then up next we have Deforce. So this is a game that it's kind of simple. So this is your top-down shooter. It does have guns and missiles, and you do have these different upgrades, but it just does not look good as other shooters. So this is a pretty inexpensive game, and I could definitely see why. So there are like shooting stages that, are a little bit better than the exploration stages, which I think are kind of boring. But I just wish that it looked a lot more, like more exciting or better. But there are tons of shooters on the Super Nintendo, so it's definitely worth giving them all a try and seeing which ones you like the best. Then on to Cutthroat Island. So this is another one that I didn't really know too much about. So this is another generic movie-based game. It's kind of a fast-paced beat-em-up, and it can be fun on those parts of this. Now it does have different like minecart levels, which are a little bit hard because you have to like dodge and be a little quick-paced. But so far I'm enjoying some of the parts of it, so I have to see how this one ends up faring at the very end, or like as I kind of go through it a little bit more. But some of these movie tie-ins, I'll have to rewatch some of the movies, because I know that some of these games try and follow along with the movie, and some of them just kind of steer clear of it. So, what do you guys think about this game? Have you even heard of the movie, and have you watched it? And then on to Smartball. So I didn't really know what this was about. I did not realize that this was going to be one of those platforming games. I thought it was going to be something entirely different just because of the shape of the character. But this is another one of those mascot platformers where you can like jump on enemies, you get to collect lives, collect projectiles. The visuals could have been a little bit better, but you get to scale walls, ceilings, and explore different areas and items. So I thought that that was pretty cool because it does let you do a lot of exploration, because you can be very versatile and go like all over the place, and your character kind of like shifts into like different like shapes. So this is actually an interesting one that maybe I'll give a little bit more playthrough to and see where it ends up. But there are better mascot platforming games on the Super Nintendo. This one's a pretty inexpensive find. And then on to Vortex. So this game is nothing of what I thought based on the label, and I love the Japanese art so much better. So some of those labels are definitely a lot better over in Japan. But this one definitely shocked me because you play as a mech, and the music is fantastic in this game. So you get to use the Super FX chip. Now it's not as good as Star Fox, but it is like a shoot 'em up, a run and gun. It has platformer aspects to it. Has like a lot going on. So I've actually enjoyed this one. And for that time, having graphics and things look like this, that was just so crazy to see like where they kind of shifted at. So I would definitely recommend this one. I know it's not as good as Star Fox, but if you like that style and like the mechs and different aspects to it, you might enjoy Vortex. And then this one, we have Spectre. So this game is like the whole polygon style as well. So you get to drive a tank in this like 3D world, and you're under heavy fire, so you have to collect different flags. And there are some other aspects to it, but it was something that I didn't really enjoy as I was going through. So I'm not really too sure what I think about this game, but I know it's definitely not my favorite. Now this one is definitely a kid's game. So you have the Super Aquatic Games starring the Aquabats. So this one you have like these bright and vibrant colors. It's like these different underwater events like track and field, but there are tons of different like games and options. So you have like leapfrog, relay race, 100-meter splash, feeding time where you like feed fish candy. There's just some different little aspects to it, but it's something that I could see maybe if I was a kid or got it back then, I might have enjoyed it. Might have went through some of these like little like minier games that they have in here, and I might have had a blast playing it, but it's one that I'm probably going to steer clear of nowadays, just because doesn't really appeal to me. And then I had high hopes for this game, but I knew that it was not the best. This is The Page Master. This was such a fantastic movie that I loved as a kid. This could have been a great game. You had such an awesome story to it. So you have the side-scrolling platformer, and it's just not good because of the camera views. And the power-ups are okay, you get to explore levels, and it's a little bit hard to maneuver where you go just because of those camera views. But I just felt like they could have did so much more. They could have focused in on more of this particular game. But this one's just not a good one on the Super Nintendo. And this one's definitely not a good game either. We have the Rocketeer. So, if you remember on the Nintendo Entertainment System, you would have thought that this game would have improved on the Super Nintendo. Definitely thought that it was going to be a lot better. So right away, the first level, you're not even like this Rocketeer. You are a plane. You get to fly in circles. That is the first level. Now, there are some other parts where it lets you kind of change out and do different things, but it has this whole side-scrolling shooter aspect to it. You can't let them get behind you like many of the shooter games, but this one I just thought was going to be much better and definitely different than what it actually was. Then on to this game. So this one actually looks pretty cool. As I was playing it, this is Foreman for real. So we all know Big George Foreman. So this is your boxing game. But I like how it had these pre-rendered motion graphics. Now, as you're playing this game, you see the back of one character, and then you see the front of the other. So, as the boxing game goes, you get to punch, dodge, and you have to be strategic with this, because you have to also guard, and you can't just use all of your stamina right away. But this one is a super inexpensive boxing game as well. But for that pre-rendered motion graphics, that's definitely pretty cool to see. So of course here, I was able to add 12 Super Nintendo games into my set, and starting with 488, adding 12 more, I finally made it to the 500 mark. And I'm just so thrilled because this has been quite the journey so far, and there have been so many great games that I've found. So many inexpensive games. Now there's been some bad ones along the way, and I've bought some duplicate ones that I can't even talk about or add to the collection. But other than those little hiccups, there are so many fun ones, and I'm just going to have to go back and play even more of these as I get a chance, clean some off, get these stickers off on some of the games. But winning these bids and auctions, that's been a real lifesaver because it's helped me get some really great deals on these games. And in this week's, finding Vortex and having all of these different options in it, just really cool. You know, restoring the order to the universe, switching forms, using the best form depending on what you have to do. Just so many different things that these games offer, and so many different capabilities that the Super Nintendo had. These pre-rendered motion graphics, adding the Super FX chip, just having all these 3D style games. Just really cool to see all of this stuff that I didn't even know about. And some of these games definitely remind me of my childhood. So I can't wait to see what 2024 brings and which games I pick up next, and see if I can make it closer to the 700 and some that I need. So which game was your favorite in this bunch? Did you play any as a kid? And let me know in the comments below. And of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out all of my other videos and stay tuned for more.